Weather on Earth is driven by a process called convection, and we can demonstrate it using water. The main principle behind this is that hot air rises. The same is true for hot water. Here, I have two clear cups filled to the brim with water. The one with the blue coloring has cold water, and the red one has hot water. I'll carefully invert the hot water cup over the cold one. You can see the cup on top stays red, meaning the hot water floats on top of the cold water, because it is less dense. When I turn over the cups, the cold water sinks and mixes with the hot water, forming a uniform purple color. The same thing happens on Earth. Here, I have a container filled with water. I'll put a thermos filled with hot water underneath it right at the center. This represents heat from the ground that warms the air. In our case, it will warm the water. I'll add red food coloring right above the hot water so you can see the effect the heat has on the water. The red food coloring immediately starts rising as the water heats up and rises. This is exactly what happens when air is heated. I'll add blue food coloring to the sides where the water is still cold. Instead of rising, it moves to the center to replace the water that is rising. The same thing happens when hot air rises. Cold air rushes in to replace it and we feel it as wind. As the hot air rises, it gets colder and sometimes forms into clouds, and that's how we get rain. Convection is also the process by which water or any liquid on a stove gets hot. The fire hits the water at the bottom of the pot, which rises and it's replaced by cold water. This continues until all the water becomes hot. You can see this process here. When the food coloring carried by the hot water gets to the top, it cycles back down to the bottom as it's carried by the cold water moving in to replace the hot water. These are called convection currents.